when you're ready.
Okay, folks, so given that the Young Turks decided to do a hit piece on us, and of course they didn't even bother contacting me about PragerU Kids, I'm just going to watch what they decided to report on us, and I'm going to react and actually share the truth with you. So here we go.
Friends, I'm ecstatic to make this groundbreaking announcement. PragerU is now making it into schools.
You just heard from the CEO over at PragerU, which of course is not an actual accredited educational institution.
I want to tell you why we're not an accredited institution, because accredited these days is synonymous with controlled. And so if we actually get an accreditation, that would mean that we would be controlled by political elites, the Department of Education, which is basically a sellout to the NEA and the AFD, the union bosses. And so we actually decided to have education freedom and have the freedom to teach so that we're not controlled. It's the only reason why we don't care about accreditation. Our presenters, our educators are probably more credible than what you will find in most educational institutions.
But Marissa Street argues that now Florida will allow PragerU materials to be utilized in their grade school curriculum. For now, that's only allowed in the state of Florida, but this is a dream for the conservatives over at PragerU and the wealthy donors that help to fund PragerU.
Okay, so we are actually not funded by wealthy donors or billionaires. We have about 300,000 donors from all over the country, frankly, all over the world. And the average gift donation at PragerU is $45 to $50. So we're actually funded by the public for the public.
And when you consider the ideological slant there, it is a problem, especially coming from the individuals who claim that they're concerned about indoctrination in public schools. But we'll get to the details on what the course materials could involve in just a moment. First, it's important to understand the scope of this project. PragerU is infamous for their online videos, and there's plenty of that in PragerU Kids as well. The PragerU Kids material can now be used in.
So wrong B-roll here. This is not PragerU Kids material, but
a lot more, including lesson plans.
This is not PragerU Kids material, but you might want to show it to your kids anyway.
Show is Leo and Layla, and it's about two time-traveling children who ask historical figures for advice on how to deal with modern-day problems. And as you can imagine, the modern-day problems are often based on conservative culture war narratives and grievances. So we're going to get to the examples in just a moment. But Cenk, I mean, I was under the impression that conservatives didn't want indoctrination in public schools.
All of a sudden, when it's indoctrination from the right wing, they seem to be pretty in favor of it.
So let me tell you why PragerU content is not indoctrination. Number one, we believe in providing a window into the classroom. This is why every piece of content we make is actually on PragerU.com. It's on our website. Parents, remember feeling like you're being gaslit where you are being gaslit. But when it comes to PragerU, if we provide content to teachers, we also provide it to parents so they can go and see and make choices with their schools as to what is appropriate for their classrooms. And so this is the difference between the indoctrination of the left. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples of what I call indoctrination. Here is 5th and 6th grade reading material, Rick and Melissa, about early sexualization of our kids. Melissa was born George, but apparently is transgender, and somehow Scholastic decided to give them an award because they think it's appropriate for 5th and 6th graders to read in school. Do parents know about this? Is this transparent? No, it's not transparent. Every single content that we make for PragerU, again, is on our website. Here's another version of indoctrination. This is supposed to be math class. But the 1619 project recommends that while teaching graphs and math, you actually use the calculation to distinguish how much reparations are owed to, I guess, descendants of African American slaves. This is what I call indoctrination, because parents have no idea that they're teaching this in schools. Here is the Black Lives Matter curriculum endorsed by USD. How many parents know that this is what's actually being implemented in our classrooms? Most parents don't know. Where has the Young Turk been when this kind of indoctrination was in our classrooms? What was the commentary on that? No problem. No problem when parents are being gaslit. One more. Do you know that the 1619 Project claims that white Americans have purposefully given sugar to African Americans in order to hurt and create a gap between whites and blacks? Here's how they call it. They list some of their objectives. Analyze the way the sugar industry and other industries that grew as a result of slave labor have led to the wealth gap of African Americans in the U.S. This is what we call indoctrination, the fact that it's being snuck into our classrooms and parents have no idea. There are no windows into our classrooms. There's only gaslighting. And so what we believe here at PragerU is that parents deserve to know what is happening in schools across America, and that parents should get involved in their kids' education. And so if a teacher in a school if they choose to use the content that we make, and again, we are not heavy-handed about this, and none of the states that are working with us are heavy-handed about the material that we provide. We believe in resources and choices so that local communities can evaluate our curriculum and make the choice to either use our content or not use our content. And should they use our content, we want to make sure that they provide the parents the window into the classroom so that they can see what's being taught and that they can use the flipped classroom method, which basically means that whatever it is that they're watching in school, they can also watch at home for extra reinforcement and extra discussions with the families at home. Let's keep going.
So there's two different problems here. Number one, PragerU is funded completely by right-wing billionaires. So this is now a pipeline for some right-wing billionaires going, I'd like to indoctrinate the kids with my particular propaganda. So I'm going to pay Prager, and then Prager is going to get it into the schools. And that way we're going to brainwash the kids into horrible things.
You already know this is a lie.
Kids is apparently a little bit different than PragerU overall.
Right.
But PragerU does the worst videos.
Worst videos.
I'll just give you one example, and then we'll go back to PragerU Kids to give you a sense of what this organization is about. They did a video celebrating and praising Robert E. Lee, saying his statue shouldn't be taken down. And in the video, they explained, oh, because Robert E. Lee, one of the upsides of him was that he put down a slave rebellion and killed everyone who was rebelling.
Not true. I mean, go to PragerU.com and tell me if you think that we have made a video that celebrates Robert E. Lee. It's just a complete misinterpretation of our content.
Like, how is that an upside? That's monstrous.
Come on. I mean, look, considering what we just shared with you all in regard to Florida's updated education standards and how they want to point to alleged silver linings when it came to slavery, it's clear here what they're doing, right? Like, there's revisionism, clearly revisionist history involved here. And look, can we just teach kids how to read?
I completely agree. We should teach kids how to read. And by the way, we should not provide revisionist history in our schools. Nothing about what PragerU makes is revisionist history. We do teach slavery. Slavery was a horrible blemish in American history. It was a horrible thing. It was, disgusting, and thank God America has pulled out of it. We have made so much progress since then. And that's what we teach our kids, is that these kinds of things should never happen again. We are the ones who are teaching that MLK was right, that we should judge people based on their character and not the color of their skin. And so this idea that we are not teaching American history or that we're not teaching slavery is just an absolute lie. And you know how you can find out the truth? Go to PragerU.com and you can see that we have plenty of videos on the subject of the horrors of slavery.
Okay, we have a very real problem in the country right now where a huge portion of grade school kids can't read. Part of it is because the education system for a number of years moved away from the phonics way of teaching kids how.
Guess who has been controlling the education system for years and has moved away from teaching phonics? We are the ones who are saying that we need to go back to core knowledge and teach through phonics. They're the ones who believe in, all these other fluffy, all these other silly progressive education tools that actually don't work. They're the ones who believe in reducing the standards and not actually having ways to evaluate student and teacher productivity because supposedly evaluations are racist or something, or having standards are racist or xenophobic. So, I mean, we actually kind of agree. I feel like we should have a conversation here.
How to read. Part of it has to do with the coronavirus pandemic and how people had to, resort to teaching.
No,
online.
kids have been
Kids had to
failing
learn when they
before
were
the
home, and it was
corona
really, really
pandemic,
difficult
or
for them
whatever
do.
they want to
Can
call
we
it.
just stop politicizing public school education and focus on the basics here?
Yes, I
How about a
completely
personal
agree.
finance class in high schools?
How about a personal finance class in high schools? Completely agreed. This is why we launched our cash course. This is complete. How about a personal finance class in high school? I completely agree. This is why we launched Cash Course, our Finlit module, which, by the way, is the first module that is adopted in most of the schools that Florida is working with us on, teaching financial literacy to our kids. I actually really think that she would really enjoy our products if she actually took the time to look at what we make. There is no politics in our Cash Course videos.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right, but we're not having that conversation.
That would be amazing, and we are
Instead,
having
we're
that
talking about
conversation. It's
politicizing
just a
curriculum,
twilight zone.
when in
It's just a
reality,
twilight
kids
zone.
should be learning the basics so they can, survive and do well in life.
Agree.
Another part of the video celebrated Robert E. Lee.
He's just obsessed over this Robert E. Lee thing. It's like he's never been on the PragerU website.
I think they can get educated, but of course they shouldn't be allowed to vote. So
What?
this is what we're celebrating. This is what we're going to teach the kids.
Let's actually show you guys specific examples, not for PragerU Kids, okay? The series featuring Leo and Layla. So here's one clip about how Galileo wouldn't want you to take the coronavirus.
Oh my God, we are teaching Galileo. How dare we teach core knowledge Galileo? By the way, Galileo is in many of the state standards. There's nothing about the corona vaccine in here.
Or auto insurance.
There's an ad, sorry guys.
We're asking for your urgent.
I am Galileo. I love experiments. Science is both a collection of steps and rules from past experiments, and also a never-ending process of questioning and testing.
Can you give an example?
When I made my first telescope, I did not create it from nowhere. I built upon findings of other scientists around Europe. I followed their steps perfectly, but after careful observation, I noticed that if I changed some of the instructions, I might be able to make a more powerful telescope.
So it's okay to go against the instructions if you think you can make something better?
It is most definitely okay to have questions and try to make improvements.
That's right, Bob. Government officials are telling Americans who have questions not to worry. Everyone just needs to follow the steps they've been given and trust the science.
Right.
We didn't even mention the vaccine in here, but okay, let's see what she has to say.
Except, look, that video totally avoids providing information about how the vaccine was developed.
Of course we didn't talk about how the vaccine was developed because it has nothing to do with it. The whole concept was that Galileo dared to question, and that is what we're trying to teach kids to do, right? Critically think and question. You shouldn't believe everything that is told to you.
First place, it makes it seem as though the vaccine was developed overnight, when in reality...
We don't talk about vaccine.
mRNA technology had been developed in Canada years and years prior to the outbreak of the coronavirus. But of course, that's left out of the conversation.
Of course it's left out of the conversation. The video has to do with Galileo and nothing to do with the vaccine and how it was developed.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling.
Let me explain how much they perverted the Galileo story. So now Galileo was a legendary scientist, and he wanted people to listen to science back then instead of superstition and, let's be honest, religion. And so Galileo broke people's hearts by telling them that we are not the center of the universe. And Christianity and almost all the world religions were saying, no, we are the center of the universe. The sun goes around us. The entire universe goes around us. And Galileo's like, I got bad news for you guys, but science is real, right? They were so mad at him, they threatened to murder him over and over and over again. And then, of course, they arrested him. And he died under house arrest, which he could never get out of for the rest of his life because he did science. Now,
So he believes that the only reason to teach Galileo is in order to refute religion? No.
right-wingers, when it came to believing scientists, did the same exact thing that the people who hounded Galileo did. Don't believe the scientists. We don't like what they're saying. We want you to be politically correct, not factually correct, okay? Boo, scientists. And then they bring out Galileo cartoon as if he's on their side. No, he's exactly the type of scientist you guys pilloried before and are pillorying now. And then they pretend he's on their side. Come on.
Except that most of us were right about not masking kids or locking them out of schools.
Get out of here.
I'm going to skip ahead to the last video here. I have not watched this one yet, but this is...
At least she admits that she doesn't actually watch the stuff that she comments on. I think this is just gold. I mean, maybe if you actually watched it, you might actually agree with us and see that it's just, you know, great, wholesome content that you are hoping to find.
There's other content outside of the Leo and Layla stuff. So here's a YouTube short titled How to Embrace Your Femininity. Again, this is part of PragerU Kids. How to embrace your femininity, and watch how they don't reveal the real point of the video until the very end.
Most gender stereotypes exist because they reflect the way that men and women are naturally different, and those differences aren't bad. Men and women complement each other and create a well-balanced family and community. So don't let anyone tell you it's bad to fit stereotypes. Those people are just trying too hard to be cool. Oh, pink. How original. If you want to wear pink, wear pink. If you want to dress up in a girly dress, do it. Make yourself pretty. Master the art of makeup. Practice good hygiene. Go buy all the things that smell good and create a torpedo of fragrance.
It reeks of daffodil.
If you want to wear high heels, go for it. Just practice walking before getting close to any ledges.
Are you a man suffering in the bedroom, feeling frustrated and disconnected from your partner? What I'm about to tell you could change your...
Embrace the idea of being a wife or a mother. On the other hand, don't feel guilty if pursuing a career is the right choice for your family.
So, great.
So the reason she has no comment on this is because she probably agrees. And also, the rest of the video talks about, again, choice. Look, I'm a female CEO. I'm both a mom, but I run a business. I don't fit into any sort of stereotype. Our point in this video is simply to say that women should make their own choices. They shouldn't be pressured to feel like they should behave like boys, and they shouldn't feel pressured to behave like, I don't know, whatever a stereotype of a woman is. Our whole point in all of this is that the culture is trying to push stereotypes or anti-stereotypes on young women. Women, young girls, our message to you is that you should make your own choice. I mean, I think it's very clear here that they did not watch the entire video, which is why she had no comments on this. Our whole point is, again, make your own choice. You want to be a mom, be a mom. You want to be a CEO, be a CEO. You want to be like me and do both, then do both. This idea that we're looking to lock up women at home and have them, like, you know, just wear dresses all day long and run around in high heels is just absolutely ridiculous. It's an absolute lie, and honestly, these folks are doing a disservice to themselves because they're, you know, simply denying the truth.
Okay.
I mean, look, if you love your femininity, obviously, I love that. Celebrate your femininity, but there's clear propaganda there.
What is the propaganda? She just agreed with me.
If you want to wear pink and you want to wear high heels, have at it, Hoss. And if you don't want to, and you want to wear sneakers, and if you're a woman and you like other women, have at it, Hoss. We believe in freedom. We believe all these things are
We
balanced.
completely agree.
Then great, no problem, right? No, that
Just
was
watch the
100%
actual content.
heterosexual propaganda, right?
Yeah, it was meant to uphold traditional gender roles and
I love how somebody who didn't actually watch our content has already decided what it was meant to do. No, it wasn't. It was not meant to do that. It was meant to encourage women to make their own choices and not feel pressured by our culture to behave like something they're not.
you know, kind of push girls in that direction.
100%.
Yeah.
So now the schools don't actually, like in Florida and other places, they're like, oh, the schools teach people, you know, to be gay. They made that up. No, they don't. Like in kindergarten, is anybody going around going, guys, you got to be gay? It's not a thing, right? So they invented a problem that doesn't exist, and their solution now is propaganda from PragerU, which actually is propaganda saying you should be heterosexual and not anything.
Guys, I swear that if they actually watch our content, I actually think they're going to get red-pilled because they're going to realize that they've been lying to themselves this whole time. We have no issue with people making their own choice. We're all about freedom. We're not trying to push women to behave a certain way or men to behave other ways. We're just allowing people to be their natural selves. And we are not looking to bring propaganda or turn our kids into hammers of some sort of political fight in our schools. We are just trying to bring a window into America's classrooms and bring some transparency for parents and level the playing field so that folks can hear both sides and ultimately make their own decisions. Our content is wholesome. We teach financial literacy. We believe in literacy. We do not think that math is racist. We believe that kids should have the choice, and communities should make the choice to bring good content into their classrooms. Complete lie. If they actually took the time to watch our actual content, I think they would actually fall in love.